Darth Vader, the most fearsome Sith Lord to have ever lived. The fallen chosen one, more machine than man. Darth Vader single-handedly terrorized the galaxy, instigating the First Jedi Purge, along with his master Palpatine. Darth Vader led the 501st Legion on the Jedi Temple, slaughtering hundreds of Jedi in his path, including Shaak Ti, the esteemed Jedi Master and Battle Master Sindrali. Although we know, afterwards, Vader went to slaughter the remainder of the Separatist Council on Mustafar, and ultimately, he nearly incapacitated and killed Padme Amidala, his own wife, who he believed had betrayed him, and then went on to duel his own master in Obi-Wan Kenobi, although Obi-Wan simply knew Anakin too well, and in one final foolish move, Anakin leapt up and was permanently disgraced, maimed, and burned on the black glass beaches of Mustafar. Afterwards, Darth Vader was entombed within his black suit of ebon armor, becoming the tyrannical Dark Lord of the Sith that we all know and love. Vader would continue to live in constant agony over the next 2 decades. As Palpatine's primary lieutenant and top dog, Vader single-handedly plowed through any Jedi and any foe he came across, almost effortlessly. However, there is one thing we have to note when considering the iconicness and fame of this character: his suit. Darth Vader's suit is one of the most iconic aspects not just of Star Wars lore, but of all of cinema. Yet the black armor has undergone a number of revisions and various versions over the years. Darth Vader's iconic suit of armor is one of the most instantly recognizable features of not only the Star Wars universe, but of perhaps every single universe, with various statistics showing his only rivals in terms of popularity and people who know him being that of James Bond and the Incredible Hulk. Simultaneously, a practical tool for keeping the stricken Sith alive and a symbol of the Empire's indomitable might, the armor has featured extensively across various Star Wars media. Nevertheless, despite its status in modern pop culture, the answer to how many suits Darth Vader had isn't as straightforward as many may seem. In canon, while Vader's armor became a powerful symbol for Emperor Palpatine to govern the Empire by, as well as his empire, its creation was not always part of the plan. It was only after Anakin lost a fateful duel with his old master Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar, and his burdened, maimed, and scarred body was placed within the suit for his own protection, in order to preserve his life and to strengthen his connection to the dark side. Even then, despite its robust appearance, the armor was not intended to be a permanent prison for Vader. In several instances, the Sith is seen beyond its confines in a Bacta tank, one of the only places he can meditate and gain some relief from his horrific injuries, and gain some form of comfort from the tyrannical burns that line his arms. So, my friends, join us as we excavate the ruins of the ancient first Death Star, as well as explore Vader's funeral pyre on Endor, and deduce how many suits Darth Vader actually had in canon and legends. Since forsaking his life as Anakin Skywalker and becoming Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith, the Dark Lord has had several issues with his armor, whether as a result of combat with enemies or simply in order to upgrade. Multiple different variations of Darth Vader's suit have appeared across the Star Wars universe. Even without delving into material beyond the movies, discrepancies in the suit began between Episode 3 and Episode 4 revealed that there are at least 4 different Darth Vader suits on screen alone. As a result, it's clear that Vader had more than one suit over his various Star Wars appearances in live action and in the time in animation. Here's how many suits Darth Vader had, as well as why so many different versions actually appeared. Despite its air of invincibility, Darth Vader's suit has been damaged and destroyed on multiple occasions. In the canonical movies, the most notable of these is undoubtedly at the end of Return of the Jedi, in which the Dark Lord is so moved by the sight of his tortured son that he turns on his master, the Emperor. As he casts Palpatine in the heart of the Death Star, he suffers the full force of the Sith lightning, which fries the electrical circuits in his life support system, leaving him on the verge of death. The suit is then fully destroyed when Luke Skywalker immolates it in a funeral pyre. The Twiskin mask is recovered and later venerated by Vader's grandson Kylo Ren. Yet, while this is most recognizable suit destruction to Star Wars, it is by no means the only example of which Vader's suit has been brutalized. Canonically, there are several instances before Return of the Jedi where Vader's suit was compromised. In the Star Wars timeline, the first serious damage occurred at the hands of its wearer's former master in the Obi-Wan Kenobi finale. In the player's climactic duel, the Jedi is able to pummel and break Vader's breastplate before cleaving the helmet nearly in two with an overhand strike. This damage mirrors a similar moment in Star Wars Rebels, in which Skywalker's former protege and apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, slashes the other side of Vader's helmet. In both cases, the damage was substantial enough for repairs and replacements to be necessary. Another less significant incident in Vader's battle with Luke on Bespin saw the younger Skywalker strike a glancing blow on Vader's shoulder. The scene where we can see Vader growl signifies that he did not hit a piece of circuitry that was imbued into Darth Vader after he was turned into Darth Vader, and after his fall on Mustafar, that he actually hit a small portion of Anakin's tendons and flesh, and resuscitated a small part of flesh and pain from the wounds that Vader has endured on Mustafar. This perhaps explains why The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi suits are subtly different. Away from the movies and small screen, however, there are other examples of Vader's suit being destroyed in the 2020 canonical comic series Darth Vader 6, which takes place after the events of The Empire Strikes Back and Luke Skywalker losing his hand. Vader learns the truth about Padme's death and begins plotting his ultimate revenge against his master, Insidious. As a result, after discovering this conspiracy and machinations by his apprentice, the Emperor punishes his apprentice, decimating his suit and leaving his exposed body on Mustafar to fend for himself. It is only after he proves his loyalty that the Emperor constructs a new suit for Vader to revive him, complete with a state-of-the-art upgrade. This highlights how Vader's armor went through constant revisions throughout his time in the suit. However, there is one thing we have to acknowledge before we deduce how Darth Vader's suit changed. We have to give an honourable mention to Darth Vader's upgraded suit, which we have recently made a video about. Darth Vader's upgraded suit was a suit that was pioneered by Palpatine, and Darth Vader could have gone into in order to increase his mobility, speed, and could have become effortlessly more powerful, perhaps even more powerful than the Emperor. But Palpatine still inhibited it with weakness to Force lightning, so he would have a way to deal away with his favourite attack dog if the need ever arose. If you want more information, I suggest you check out the video why Darth Vader never used his upgraded suit. Anyway, let's proceed. In many of its Star Wars appearances, Vader's suit undergoes a number of psychological and circuitral changes. In Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan Kenobi, for instance, the suit features a large chin vest as well as the same green and red button layout on the breastplate, reflecting the suit's destruction. This design differs from Vader's appearance in Star Wars Rebels, which includes a lengthened helmet and different coloured buttons in the central chest panel. Once again, after the damage inflicted by Ahsoka Tano, the suit changes ahead of its appearance in Rogue One, which returns to the green and red button layout, as well as a smaller helmet vent from A New Hope. Perhaps the most archetypical Darth Vader suit design is seen in The Empire Strikes Back, compared to its predecessors in A New Hope and the previous animated and aforementioned TV shows and movies. The armor is much more refined, with a more complex chest panel, sculpted helmet, and a large chin breathing vent imbued with circuitry as well as various mechanical devices that pump oxygen into his lungs and throat. This suggests that significant upgrades were made after Vader's defeat at the Battle of Yavin. There are also pronounced differences between Vader's Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi suits, which follows given the events of the canonical Darth Vader 6 comic. While the overall impression of the armor remains consistent throughout the Star Wars saga, it's clear that Vader was never averse to tinkering with his suit according to need, and only tinkered with it slightly, placing various inhibitors in it in order to weaken its weakness to Force lightning, allowing him to be slightly more durable, which ultimately allowed him to overpower Palpatine at the end of Return of the Jedi. Other than that, he had likely relinquished himself to death. Figuring out exactly how many suits Darth Vader had wore isn't as straightforward as it may seem. For one thing, it's unclear whether the Dark Lord only had one version of each different suit available at any given time, or whether he could swap between multiple copies according to need and desire. However, assuming that there were only one different version of the Darth Vader suit, it seems as though he wore at least 5 sets of armor following the events of Revenge of the Sith, and being encased with the armor that would define his prisoner's intent once and for all. In timeline order, these suits are the versions seen in Episode 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Rebels, Rogue One, Episode 5 Empire Strikes Back, Episode 4 A New Hope, Darth Vader 6, and Episode 6 The Return of the Jedi. Given the wealth of the Star Wars material set to come out as a result of Lucasfilm's continuing partnership with Disney, it seems likely that audiences haven't seen the last of Darth Vader. As such, more suit designs may be introduced in the future. Yet it's important for any future projects to consider that as the timeline exists currently, each suit version does seamlessly follow previous events. Consequently, any other Darth Vader suits need to be equally conspicuous when it comes to following wider Star Wars stories. Well, my friends, what did you think of this video about how many suits Darth Vader actually wore? Darth Vader is truly one of my favourite characters in all of the lore, as Darth Vader truly is a complex character with psychological hindrances. We have recently released a video that entirely depicts what would happen in Darth Vader's mental state, his psychological state. Darth Vader, the man to monster. Anyway, my friends, I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away. Remember, the Force will be with you, no matter how dark and treacherous the path ahead may seem.